Everyone loves this movie. To me, it's disgusting. I cannot believe how successful he has been. I'm talking about the famous Toy Story trilogy. Very few of us know the true origins of this macabre creation. It was in 1991. Pixar wanted to slightly change the audience that was focused. Pixar wanted to slightly change the audience that was focused. Their productions and Disney originated from the success of The Lion King. She wanted to change to see how she would work in a more adult market. As I know, I was a maintenance worker and they beat me very well. But things happened that they shouldn't say like this. Pixar had a story planned. It is not known why it was created. But supposedly this would be a masterpiece in bizarre cinema. It would be called Toy Story. This was just a short before going to the movies. Some people had to see him and give their opinion. Accept without hesitation terrible mistake. A total of 6 people watched it. 2 Pixar executives. 3 people I didn't know. And obviously me. The short begins with a very macabre lullaby. Andy's room was dark and in small letters you could distinguish. In small letters you could distinguish the letters. Toy Story. For the technology they had, it was a very poor animation. But since it's just a test, don't pay attention to it. The room was illuminated. Andy was crying. But in a more than real way. A deep and sad cry. The music was silent and only the cry could be heard. This happened for only 2 minutes. The crying is over and now there is an argument. The shot changes Andy's parents into arguing on the edge of the stairs. The mother looks obviously pregnant. The dialogues are not visible, only screams. The shot changes to Andy who takes Woody and Betty and starts playing with them. But Betty didn't have her sheep as Woody smiled macabre. Then Andy would take 2 other toys. These apparently simulated Andy's parents arguing. Until Woody arrives and starts hitting the other 2 dolls. In that sounds a heartbreaking scream. The shot changes to the discussion of Andy's parents. And his father is seen bruised at his mother from the stairs. This is repeatedly hit and ends up on the floor surrounded by a pool of blood. Extremely real. Screams of a desperate baby begin to be heard. These cries became more real and stronger. We return with Andy who realizes what is happening. He takes a knife under his bed and throws himself at his father. The screams of this are heartbreaking and loud and enter directly into your mind. As if that unfortunate person were in the same room as us. Then us. Andy's father is dead. But Andy keeps penetrating it with the knife. He then cuts off his father's arm and throws it. Andy goes where his mother is lying and apparently dead. The baby's cries get louder and more real. At this point the shot changes to a picture of a few months old baby with no arms or legs. Andy climbs the stairs with both his parents dead. He returns to the room and takes Woody to hug him. Woody revives and Andy doesn't seem to miss him. Woody starts to comfort him by saying this had to happen sometime. It's not your fault. Andy shot himself on the floor and started cry and whip her head on the floor. Until it starts bleeding. Woody as he pulls out a knife approaches Andy and picks up the knife. And the moment he says this, it had to happen sometime. The shot turns black and you only hear screams from a desperate boy. For about 5 minutes. It ends with the photo of a real child apparently stabbed with the same conditions as the baby. No arms or legs. At that moment, the silence was inevitable. The executives of Pixar walked away and banged the door furiously. Of the other 3 people to ran away. And one stood there motionless and broke his cry. I left just as I was leaving the room. A man apologized and told me not to say any of this. To investigate the case. Years later. Toy Story. It came to light with a story very different from the original. Better recording and sound quality. But better recording and sound quality. But seeing the characters reminds me of that horrible occasion. Where the dreams of a madman materialized into the most innocent thing in the world. A child's toys. Now Toy Story 4 came to theaters with the same innocent story. But the mystery I and perhaps 5 other people I never knew happened to them. For my part, I am disgusted that so many are fans of this trilogy that had in its